everyone, and welcome back to MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft. And we're here again today in our little hut, but we're about to move on to lands anew. We're going to continue our quest. There we go. That's a lot of creepers in there. I'm going to leave that alone. We're going to continue our quest back to the original spawn point. Last episode we spent some time messing around with the rabbits, and oh, there's a ravine over here. I guess we'll check this out before we leave. And we did a couple other things back on Saturday now. And in today's video I would like to continue on our main goal, and along the way I have a topic to talk about today. Now that we have a video to dedicate to the said topic, we have enough time to talk about it, that kind of thing. So I also kind of want to introduce the video though before we do that and talk about some other things. These are kind of more related to everything that's been going on with me lately, as I figured some people might be interested in what's been going on and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that as well. And then we're going to talk about the Microsoft deal. Just more of the same, just the rabbit hides. I'm not even going to bother to pick that up, honestly. So, we're going to talk about that as well, and actually this is going to be my second attempt at recording that. That was part of the footage I actually lost. Well, I didn't lose, I lost the audio too. I guess I didn't even lose the audio, it was just... the audio was never recorded to begin with, so we're going to take a second stab at that too. But before we do that... looks different being in a boat now. You seem lower than you used to be. I could be wrong though. Oh, what was that? That was kind of weird. So, I just want to talk very, very briefly about what's been going on with me lately a little bit. I know there's not been a lot of videos, and we've just had MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft twice a week. I've been so busy lately working on the mod pack stuff. That's really been taking up the majority of my time. Has been the stuff to do with the mod pack, which is now out in the Feed the Beast launcher, by the way. It's in testing. There will probably be a link to my thread down below, actually, in the description, so you can check out more details about that if you're interested. I'm not going to plug it here because this is a vanilla show, that kind of thing, but I'm hoping to actually start recording that in a few weeks' time once I've done some further testing. I've got some people involved now testing my pack, and it's coming together quite nicely, I have to say. But that's been taking up the majority of my time, it has to be said. And I've been working through a number of other issues behind the scenes as well recently. I'm not sure what's going on with the boats. They don't seem like they used to be. Then again, a lot of people have been complaining about boats lately and the fact that they're broken, so maybe they're a bit more broken than usual. So that's why there's been a lack of videos, and I'm actually recording this video a lot later than I would normally do. I'm sorry that there's not really been too much of interest going on, but bear with me. I'm getting there. It's just taking a little bit of time. There is a lot of exciting stuff going to be happening quite soon, and I'm hoping to be able to share that with you guys, hopefully, quite soon. So... as I say, bear with us. That's not going to be the purpose of this video, though, to talk about that. We're going to talk about a topic. And I've kind of organised the next few videos, at least. I'm expecting that this video and possibly next video are going to be our journey to the spawn point, and then we'll probably have an episode looking around that. And then after that, we'll go off into the new terrain and probably start and look for a new place to build. And build our new base. So... that's kind of the plan for the foreseeable future, I guess. How are we doing on daylight? It's kind of weird. The clouds are definitely different. What are we looking at? Just past midday. There's a swamp over there. That's interesting. So, I'm going to take a second shot at this. And this is kind of old news now. This is hardly new or in any way revolutionary news. I'm pretty sure many people, pretty much everybody who watches my videos is aware of this now, but I do want to kind of cover my thoughts on it, and we'll probably touch on a few other topics as well, such as the bucket thing and Eulers and so on and so forth. But I don't want to spend too long talking about this because I don't really like having sort of these discussion-y, rambly, opinionated-based videos. I'm not really too into that because it just causes controversy, and I'm not really into that. I do enough of that in real life than never mind starting it now and here on YouTube. So, oh, did we finally find one? That's brilliant. I was just about to start talking about this topic, but lo and behold, a mega taiga biome. We've never actually found one of these in MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft. We never ever found one. So, I guess we finally get access to the, whatever it's called. I keep forgetting what that stuff is called. That right there. What is it? Mud? Is that what it's called? I guess do I have any room? I don't really have any room to pick it up. I guess I'll just note it down. I would like to know what it is though, so I'm gonna Podsaw. That's what it's called. Podsaw. Okay. So we found one of these now. That's awesome. Aside from that, this topic then. So, oh, that's new too. I'm keep getting distracted. Let's see what this is, and I think then we'll be all right. What is this? Coarse dirt, eh? That's interesting. Okay, so there's 2 new blocks here now. I don't know whether... I think this is the old grassless dirt, and it's actually been sort of repurposed and retextured and renamed and that kind of thing, and actually made into that coarse dirt block. I think I remember hearing about that grassless dirt in 1.7 became that in 1.8, so there's not actually... You're not missing out if you're still in 1.7 terrain on that particular block. So that's interesting. So this topic then, honestly, I kind of don't want to spend too long talking about this, and I'm going to try and keep my thoughts kind of short and kind of concise, because a lot of the information's gone down now, and it's quite old news. But I just want to say, this is more kind of trajectory, I guess, than anything else. I'm not really going to give my humble opinion on it. I'm going to talk about it from a more unbiased way, and what I see the facts to be. So this was announced probably about a month ago now, and obviously the community kind of got really riled about it, and mainly through fear of what might happen. And the key word is actually what might happen. At the end of the day, we don't really know anything yet, and this is something that I've seen a few people point out, and particularly with conversations I've had with people, Mondo notably. We're in agreement on this. There is actually no official word of what is going to happen yet. We don't know anything, quite simply. So, we just have to kind of keep things under wraps right now, and hopefully, sooner rather than later, we will find out what will happen. Do I have my music on? No, I don't. Okay. So, I kind of have pulled up a post I wrote about it on a subreddit about a month ago now. So, what we'll be able to do here is actually, I'm going to kind of read my thoughts on it and then sort of explain myself a little bit. And as I say, the key point I want to make here is we don't know what's going to happen yet. But I do have a number of worries myself. What we really need now is kind of a statement from Microsoft, really, to actually explain what they're going to do with it. Now, one key bit of information a lot of people have missed is Mojang, or Mojang as I call it, has not been bought out yet. It is in the process of being bought out. The buyout is expected to conclude sometime in early 2015. So, this is not a sudden thing. We just got to the point where an announcement could be made. I think we're actually going to have to set up a place to stay here for the night. I guess we'll just have to do a mend in the wall for now. I think trying to build up a hut might be kind of difficult. So, essentially, this is the point I want to make here to people, because we don't really know yet what's going to happen because the buyout isn't completed, which is why we don't have any sort of official word and things like that. I think it would be of great benefit to actually get a word from Microsoft about what they actually intend to do. And if we can find that out, then we might have a better idea of, you know, what's actually going to happen. Because it's all speculation at this point, and speculation isn't really going to do anybody any good, honestly. I think that it just causes more trouble than it's actually worth some of the time. And I would really like to see the speculation end. So a solid statement would be nice from Microsoft, in my opinion. Or Mojang, you know, or Mojang. I don't know why I keep calling them that. They're actually called Mojang. It would be nice to actually, as I say, have a statement. Here we go. Put that away. I want my woolen and that back. And we'll put that back on the bar. There we go. We'll set my spawn point. And then we'll carry on. So that would be nice, and you know, to answer some of the most common questions. And I have a bunch of questions, and we're still not clear yet on what exactly is going to happen. But we just don't know, and it would be nice to know, but I don't think we are going to know until this buyout is complete in early 2015. So my major worries are these right now, pretty much. And my main concern is that, you know, the whole DLC thing and future updates being paid for and things like that. Now, while Microsoft doesn't have necessarily a track record of doing that, it could still happen. I do think people are probably, and myself included in this, I'm counting myself as guilty as the next person, are probably getting a bit ahead of ourselves with that, because we think large corporation, we think EA. You know, we think of the large game developers out there, and some of them have a pretty poor track record. You know, there's all this stuff, you know, Xbox Live, and we think of EA and the expansion packs they offer and things like that, and Minecraft would be the perfect game to do that with. But I don't think it's going to happen. The more I think, you know, the more I've thought about it over the past month, it just doesn't make sense from a business standpoint, I don't think, because this game is already sold and it is selling well anyway. The only thing you could do that for it is to try and make money, but I think that with the $2.5 billion that's been spent, to try and get that back in expansion packs is a little bit ambitious, even for Microsoft. And we'll talk about how I think they're going to make the $2.5 billion back in a second here. But I do have a worry about that. I don't think there's going to be this idea that there's going to be one final update and then that's going to be it, you know, and that's sort of the end of the road, really. I think that we might end up with a big update that fixes a bunch of stuff, but I think we'll carry on from there. I don't think it will be an expansion pack format, though. But I'm kind of looking back to a month ago, and initially that was one of my big worries. So if it already costs money, you know, just to kind of conclude this and go into a little bit more detail, I would not be prepared to pay more money. You know, I know I've had countless hours of entertainment, but it's a business ethics standpoint for me. Because at the end of the day, if we're looking at this from an ethical, moral standpoint, this game has been, you pay once, and, you know, while nobody officially promised it, I know Notch promised it to alpha users, but I'm not an alpha user, you know, that there would be free updates forever. It always has been that way, and it's been that way for pretty much the 3 years that I've been playing this game. And it would be such a stark change now, and I think that Minecraft has been really great to set an example to other indie developers, just other developers in general. You know, they've really set a practice in place to be different, and I think that other companies have looked at that and probably changed their tune a little bit too. And I think that, for me, and again, this is kind of difficult from my standpoint to talk about, really, I do think that I would be against it morally, because it kind of goes against all the hard work that has been done and the setting of the example. It would kind of be like, in my own mind, sort of boycotting it, and I think many people would be of the same opinion as me, and we would probably collectively boycott it, basically, in a nutshell, and it would probably teach them a lesson, you know, and it would also, aside from just teaching Microsoft a lesson, it would still show the example we're setting to the other developers. You know, if you get the idea, oh, I have a game, it's similar to Minecraft, I can charge for expansion packs on it, that's not going to happen, I'm afraid. And I know there are expansion packs out there for other games and things like that. I've just never been really too keen on the business model, because you end up spending way more than what the game is actually worth as a piece of entertainment by the time you actually get around to it. I've played The Sims before, but I never really bought the expansion packs. I always thought that, honestly, the expansion pack thing, it was just a way of really milking the game, and I think that you know, while they offered enjoyable content and patches and things like that, there was not collectively enough in that product to be really worthy of the price they charged for it. I mean, certainly from where Minecraft is concerned, if you did put out, you know, let's just say the 1.8 update, for example, as a paid expansion pack, I think that there's been enough, you know, in it to make an update, but I don't think there's enough in it to warrant a paid tag to it. There's just not been enough, honestly, and I don't think that you can ever create enough, in my own opinion. I just think that updates for things should be free. Now, if it's a different version of something, or it contains, you know, major enhancements, you know, for example, if we're talking about Microsoft Office 2010 and 2014, yeah, I guess you're going to have to pay again because it's a different product. You know, it's from a different era in technology. It's a completely different product. But even so, you get discounts on it, you know, so there is, you know, even that aspect to it, I guess. I don't really know how much sense this is making, but in my own opinion, I just don't want that to happen, and I don't think it will, in my humble opinion. I think we've talked about that now enough. So, moving on from that, my other main concerns, one of which was actually answered by Phil Spencer on Twitter, who is actually affiliated with Xbox somehow. I think he might be the lead of Xbox development or something like that. You know, the YouTube thing, I was worried about being able to produce videos, but Microsoft have actually since, you know, given their public back into it, monetization and things like that. So I think we should be good on that front. I don't know, actually, thinking about it, about monetization. They gave the backing for it. I'm not sure about monetization. But generally, Microsoft have allowed videos for other games that they produce, and studios that they're affiliated with. So I don't think we're going to have a problem there. My other big worry is the modding community. They are probably going to suffer. I worry about them because Microsoft does have a track record of keeping their games closed source. They don't like people modding it. They don't like people changing it. And I think that's going to be really bad for this game. I think that what's made this game unique in so many ways is the fact that there has been an ability to mod things, you know, and that also, I count things like texture packs, plugins, and all that sort of stuff in with that. It's just made this game so diverse, and so many communities have, you know, popped up because of that. You know, it's probably even more insightful for me because I'm just getting into the modding community, and I've got my own Feed the Beast pack, and I get to sort of converse and speak to the developers about different things. And at the end of the day, they're people too, you know, and they've spent many hours of their life dedicated to these projects, which thousands of people enjoy. You know, possibly even tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands in some cases, like Optifine and other mods like that. I mean, that's kind of to help people with performance and so on. But at the end of the day, somebody has still spent hours of their life doing that. And I think that it would be a shame to see that go, and I hope that Microsoft acknowledges that, because if you can embrace the modding community, there's lots of money there, you know, because at the end of the day, somebody could see that mod, and Microsoft's not had to spend any time at all working on that, and it could actually prompt somebody to buy the game to install that mod. So it's almost a ton of free advertising, in a way. So, honestly, I think that could be one of the selling points. I think it is a selling point of this game, and I hope that Microsoft acknowledges that, because it could really change the landscape if they decide that they don't want modding anymore. And kind of leading on from that, there's been a lot of talk, and one of the things that could affect the modding community is the fact that they might rewrite the game in Java, you know, it is in Java now, to something like C++, or C#, something like that. Honestly, I don't see them doing that. I think that there's this common misconception that Java is a terrible programming language. It's like any other programming language, and this is my opinion on it. It is a brilliant programming language, providing it is used correctly. And I think that, on the whole, because of the way Minecraft was coded, and by who, you know, it was not a computer games programmer per se. He was a thinker. Notch has always been a thinker. Oh man, is this the chunk border already? No, this can't be the chunk border, surely. No way, no. What coordinates are we at? Definitely not. We're still a long way away. I was thinking because of the Snowy Tiger that actually we'd hit the chunk border, but definitely not. So, Notch has always been a thinker rather than a programmer, and that's, what sets him out, because the idea of Minecraft is what pulls people in, not the programming of it. It doesn't really matter what programming language it's in. Similar to most other games, the people who get acknowledgement are the people who thought up the idea than the people who sat there and programmed it. And because of the way it was put together, it was put together by somebody who was just having fun, and he wasn't really taking it seriously in the beginning. It was just a fun little 6-month project, and I think that was great. That's part of the charm of Minecraft, It was just a humble little project that somebody put together, and I think that's always just so nice to hear. It's a refreshing change, I think, from the way that other games have been developed. But as a result of that, because it was probably not taken seriously as a AAA game, you're going to have some coding flaws, and I think that is part of the reason why this game has become so buggy. That there are people who are now hired by Mojang. I'll get there eventually. And no offense to them, they are really, really good at what they do, but they are not dedicated programmers. They've not done it for 25 years. The most that somebody's done it has been Mogminer. He's a rendering engineer, and he's done that for 10 years, and that's specifically on rendering. And you can obviously see the rendering stuff is very, very good. I'm gonna have to sleep again here, and I don't really have a wall to get into this time, so I think we're gonna have to whip up a quick shelter again. So, I don't mean to cause offense to really anybody by saying that. I feel a bit conscious of that, because they do have their skills, but Minecraft was never a game, to me at least, that perhaps had that level of development in mind, and I think as a result of that, that's why people moan about it, rather than it being the common conception that just Java is a terrible programming language. It is actually a really robust programming language, and it's part of something called object-orientated programming, and that is a lot better for stuff like game development than something like software. It really enables the developer to create things in a visual way, which I think is really nice, essentially, from the traditional sort of old style. Almost, I guess, the best way to put it is just old style, games and things like that, where it's all done in code. Sometimes it's not as nice and as visually appealing to some. But, that's a matter of opinion more than anything. And I think that, individuals will make their own mind up about that as they go. And for me, I've just always been a fan of the Java programming language. It is not as bad as some people make out. It's the way that some people treat it that makes it bad. And I'm not saying the people who code it now are responsible for it. I think at the end of the day, as I say, it was initially coded for something that wasn't really taken as seriously as it is now, and that's always going to put you at a disadvantage. But I'm worried about the modding community, because they may rewrite the game, they may choose to do that, but I don't think it would make sense. I think I actually read an article, again from Phil Spencer, about this, and I think that he addressed the need of a rewrite or a sequel, I think is actually what he referenced. And in the sequel topic, he agreed with, people like myself and maybe some others out there, that rewriting the game really wouldn't make sense, from a business standpoint, or making a sequel, because the game's already, it is what it is at the end of the day. So I can see where he's coming from with that, and I think honestly that's probably what we're going to expect long term. We're probably not going to see a rewrite to this game. I think we'll probably see a lot more updates and maybe a lot more emphasis on bugs and things like that, and making the game stable, which I think is great, because at the end of the day, it has been lacking stability for some time. It's the latest shed in the journey, I guess. Have I left anything behind? Not really. So, get the compass back out here. Oops. So, I don't foresee there being a rewrite to this game, but that kind of concludes my thoughts on Java. Kind of got off on a big tangent there about programming and such. I don't mean that offensively, by the way, to anybody who develops the game, I think they do a great job. All the point I'm making is it was not built initially for what it became in a nutshell, and that's contributed to it rather than blaming the programming language it's coded in. And that's kind of my general consensus. I think the game has gotten a lot better recently. I think that Microsoft could probably make it better with the tools and resources that they have, and the people they have, you know, that could really come in and help the current developers immensely with their experience and their knowledge, and that could really accelerate the game. But at the end of the day, they probably might not want to interfere too much with that because of the model and example that Mojang sets, because at the end of the day, they've been this independent company with, you know, just 4 or 5 people. They definitely won't want to change that model because it could upset people, and it has been highly successful. You know, it wasn't like when Notch left, sales stopped. It has been successful under the new development scheme. So why would you try and fix something that isn't broken? I mean, plenty of people have tried. I just hope that the people at Microsoft are a bit wiser than that now. But anyway, we're kind of going off on a huge tangent here. I worry about the modded aspect to it. Oh, there's ice plane spikes. I wonder if we might be getting close, actually. This might be the ice plane spikes that we explored near the Mesa portal. Possibly. Although it could be different. It might be worth investigating, though. So, you know, I'm worried if they do a rewrite, and again, I don't think they will. If they did rewrite it into C# or C++, it's a lot harder to learn that language than it is to learn other languages out there, and it would make it a lot harder for modders to essentially mod, and it would enable a lot more security to be put up and things like that. And I do worry a little bit that that may end up occurring along the way, but I don't think it will. I'm actually going to leave this alone. It's going to be a lot more work to explore it. We'll see it on the map render if we ended up colliding with it or not. So I do worry about the modding community for that, because it is going to change a lot of people's lives. You know, and as I say, the rewrite would probably not be the best course of action to take. Anyway, moving on from that, we've spent a long time on that. I mean, we've already talked about the monetization stuff. Obviously, I consider Bucket and Sponge and everything else part of the modding thing. It could affect them too, and it's going to upset the balance of servers and all that sort of stuff. So there's going to be the worry there, and I'm worried about that. See, this is all new terrain because the new stuff is here. It's really hard to tell sometimes what's new and what's not. I'm going to need a... Oh, I have a boat. Never mind. Whoops. I don't know what happened there. Get my compass back out, and we'll continue on here. I do worry about that, I really do. But I think we'll probably find that not much is going to change as far as the modding is concerned. And stuff like Bucket. They'll still be allowed to make what they can. Well, it's not going to be Bucket anymore, is it? It's going to be Forge now, and Sponge. So, for me, the most alarming thing has been the lack of information. And I think that's just because of where we're at. I think more than anything they had to announce it because it was leaked rather than the fact that they wanted to. So that's been the worry. There's so many unanswered questions, and I think that's where a lot of the rage and arguments and whatnot are coming from, is the fact that we don't know what's going to happen. So I would encourage anybody who's thinking about writing something just to think, do we really, has it come out that there's been a problem, or is it that we don't know yet? And if that we don't know, to include the fact that you don't know. Oh no, Mr. Boat. So I would just think about that before flying off the handle about anything. And again, I don't see anybody here wanting to do that. Oh no. Now I've got to try and find my boat. Or did I pick it up? I picked it up. So that's, you know, that's kind of my main concerns, is the YouTube thing, which has been answered, and the modding thing, which I don't foresee being too much of a problem. As I say, I do fear a little bit, though, for some of the people at Mojang. Not necessarily the developers, but the people that we've gotten to know and love that aren't necessarily developers. For example, Lydia. Lydia could be quite easily in the firing line. Because her title is Director of Fun, she doesn't really program anything. I don't think they might be out and out fired. I can see them being more moved around elsewhere in Microsoft as a company and being offered a different position somewhere else, or taking up administration or finance or things like that. People are probably going to move around. That is quite likely. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. But I do worry a little bit for the employees. I think we all do, because we care about those people at the end of the day. You know, they've worked incredibly hard to deliver a game that we really, really love, and we will be so sad to see them lose their job because of a buyout and a change in the way that things are done. I do worry about people like that, though. I have to be honest with that. You know, particularly on the administration side, I think Microsoft are going to take a big look at that as the big area to improve. And there has been, let's be honest, there's been some PR blunders in the past few months, which is hardly going to do their cause any good. What is it with the boat behaving so weirdly? I'm not too... I don't know what the right word is. I'm a bit concerned about the boats, I guess. So, we're onwards into desert now. How close are we? We're still... Wow, we're still a reasonable ways out. I thought we might be getting kind of close now, but I guess not. As I say, I do worry about that, but we'll know more in time, and of course they'll know in advance. They'll be given, you know, a period of time if they are to be let go to find another job. You know, they may even find, because they have contacts, they might be able to get a job either with another Swedish company through Notch, or, you know, somewhere else in Microsoft. So I don't think we have to worry too much, and as I say, they're adults, they'll know what to do, and at the end of the day, Sweden is not a country where there's riots and there's all these problems and the government doesn't know what they're doing or is corrupt. Sweden is a very, very good country. They have a structured system, so they're not going to be suffering either way. They might have a different lifestyle for a little while, but they would certainly not be left to suffer. But at the end of the day, we just have to see how things go. Again, we simply don't know. This is the one point I want to keep making to people, and I will keep hammering home. We just don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I wish we did, but we just simply don't. To kind of move on from that, let me see. Let me continue down the post. I did read Notch's thoughts on the matter, and I think we should talk a little bit about Notch, because he's the one in control here. I think that he kind of reached a point himself where he'd had enough. I think that it had just been a lot of work recently. Even though he's not developing the game anymore, whenever something went wrong, it was his fault when he had nothing to do with it. And I kind of feel like that may have contributed to his decision. And if it did, I'm really sad and I'm really sorry for the man, because it's the same every so often. We keep finding these cases where the creation of, you know, destroys the developer almost. We saw it with, is it Flappy Birds or Angry Birds? I can't remember which one it is. But the creator of that was destroyed by his own creation. People started giving him hate and death threats because, you know, of the fact that certain things were not happening for them, or were happening, or things like that. And I think the same has happened to Notch. He has received death threats. He has received, you know, hate mail and stuff like that. And it all becomes a bit too much after a while to take. And I feel so sorry for him, because he put in all of that effort. And, well, he's not been... I mean, it is the minority at the end of the day, but the minority are always the most vocal and are always the ones that hurt the most. It's the old classic saying, if you were to stand on the street and, you know, shake 100 people's hands, but one of those people slapped you, you'd remember the slap of all the 100 people. So, the ones who have the horrible things to say are often the ones that you remember more, and I think that may have weighed on his mind a little bit while making this decision. I don't think this is a decision that's just so happened to have spontaneously occurred. I think it is something that has been brewing for some time, at least a few months, not just a week after it was announced. So I do understand that to a degree, and as I say, I read his thoughts, and I have to respect the man. It's his entire decision, and I think that he's probably made the right one. He's going to go ahead and do what he wants to do without having the attachment of Minecraft, and without having, quite frankly, the hassle of Minecraft. Oh, we have a village tonight, so I guess we could sleep in that. But at the end of the day, we just have to see. Again, it's not clear yet. but I wish Notch the very, very best of success in the future. I really hope that he gets what he wants by doing this, because I think the man deserves it at the end of the day. I need to make another bed again. Let's see. Kind of running low on wool, it has to be said. This will throw it down here, maybe. So really, let me see, to kind of summarize. I mean, personally, for me, I'm going to continue on my projects regardless until I'm told I can't. You know, and when I say me, I do mean me, personally, MrMFretwell. I don't foresee this as being a big problem. Some people are saying this is the, you know, kind of the end of Minecraft and so on. We had these rumors before when things changed. It was going to be the end of Minecraft, and it wasn't. So I think we'll just have to get on with it. There might be some things that we don't like, but at the end of the day, there might be some things that we do like. To kind of conclude this whole topic, I would like to talk a little bit about what I think Microsoft, in my own opinion, is going to do with Mojang. So the common misconception is they bought Minecraft. They didn't. They bought Mojang. They bought the game studio. And Microsoft has already acquired a number of these game studios before, and generally what they've done is left alone when doing so. I think what they have is more long-term interest. They sank $2.5 billion into this company, and Minecraft is a game that is probably halfway through its lifetime, and eventually it will end up with a small dedicated fan base, you know. And when I say small, I mean small in comparison to what it is now. There will still be a lot of people playing it, similar to World of Warcraft and that kind of thing. It'll pretty much go that way, I feel. They're not going to make $2.5 billion back from that. It's just not going to happen, even if they did paid expansion packs and that. It's never made $2.5 billion, I don't think, in the time that it's existed. So I can't see it making that now. Again, I don't have the numbers up in front of me, so don't quote me on that. But I don't think it has, and certainly if it has, it won't have made much more, because the game isn't the most expensive thing in the world. I think that they have more long-term plans for the studio itself in terms of developing other games, the brand name that is Mojang, and I think also, you know, the fact that they have some very talented individuals within that game studio that can actually make some bestsellers. They've already done it once, and they've continued great development on that. Scrolls has obviously been a game that's perhaps not been quite as successful as Minecraft, but has still on the whole been a very good game. Cobalt is another one, despite being developed by the Oxy Game Studio. The fact of the matter is, it's been affiliated with Mojang and has on the whole been a success. You know, that the Pocket Edition, and we'll talk about that in a minute, the different platforms that it gives Microsoft access to, is probably part of the greater scheme of things than just Minecraft on PC. I do think we'll continue to see updates for PC as well as the other platforms. I don't see this being a case of Microsoft is going to strip it away from anything that isn't Windows or Xbox. I do think we'll see updates to the other relevant platforms as well. But as I say, I see this $2.5 billion being more of an investment to the company itself. And I think the one thing that they bought it for, and this might surprise some people, is actually to have an influence in the mobile market. Because Microsoft is well documented and well known amongst people that they've not had very good luck in the mobile market. You know, they have the Windows Phone, which it just can't rival Apple's technology. It will never rival it. But having the best-selling game gives you a lot of cards in the sort of fold of things. It gives you a lot of cards in the deck, I guess. Rather than just having one, you now have 4 or 5. So you can play a number of different options and a number of different moves. It gives you a lot more flexibility with what you want to do. And I think that that's part of the reason why they went ahead and bought the company, because it gives them, the mobile market gives them Minecraft Pocket Edition, which is, you know, a big franchise. They have developers there that could develop for different devices, and I think that that is a key selling point for them. So I think we'll actually see more of an emergence of them in the Pocket Edition and stuff like that, to give them a greater grip in the mobile market. And I think that's where they want to make their money back. If they can release, you know, Minecraft as a title, for example, thrown in with the next version of Windows Phone, let's say, that's going to make some more sales because it has Minecraft on it, and they can advertise it, build up a different version similar to how they do for Android and they do for Apple products, and then they do for all different things. I think that's what's going to be the key selling point and what they've actually bought it for, as opposed to, you know, just trying to do this, that, or the other with it, really. But again, we'll have to see. Interesting looking cave there. But that's what I personally think they're going to do with it and what their interests are in it. I think the fact that it's going to give them that leverage in the mobile market is what they really, really want. As I say, I don't know anything yet, really. This is just my thoughts and my sort of story, I guess, to tell with my thoughts on it. And I think this is probably actually a good time to conclude that and move on to something else, because I think we've kind of reached the end of all my points. Again, this was not intended to be really overly controversial. I've tried to approach it in a relatively unbiased way. I've not really been siding with either people. I view the arguments that they have, the people who are doubters and the people who are pro Microsoft, they both have points to make, but at the end of the day, I think that those points are in many ways valid, but we just don't know the answers yet, which is the thing that's motivating the fear and motivating the drama as a result of the fear. So as I say, the thing that I would ask for now is some calm, some peace, which I think has already been going on. And I think also just to wait and get a statement from Microsoft or Mojang about what they actually want to do with the company in the long term. And when we know that, we can then develop a proper formulated thought on it, really. And I might even do another video on it. But honestly, I don't like talking about these types of topics, really. They're really controversial, and it's not really what I want to do on my YouTube channel. I want to have fun, relaxed videos, but I figured this would be a good time to talk about it. And I've kind of ignored some of the other issues in videos that have been going on recently, such as Bucket and the EULA and things like that. And my view on them, in a nutshell, with the EULA thing, I'm in favor of that one because it is going to make the system better, it makes the industry better, and it sets a better practice. But that said, at the end of the day, the handling of it was not very good. The blog post was not the most professional thing in the world. And as for the Bucket thing, I really don't know much about that because I've never ran a Bucket server on my own before. I've never had a big influence in that community, so I don't really think I can formulate an appropriate opinion. As far as I'm concerned, I think that Mojang weren't really affected by that. It's just that they decided amongst themselves that they were going to develop it instead, but since then I think Forge have stepped in and it's going to be Sponge that's going to take over. There's kind of been wrenches thrown in the works because of the Microsoft thing about that, but my understanding of it is people are continuing to develop it, just like I continue to produce videos until they're told they can't, and I think that's the best attitude to take, because you could throw a fit now and then regret it later. I think a lot of people who, and this is something I'm in agreement with Good on, and I saw his video about this, a lot of people who have thrown the towel in and stormed off probably wanted to stop playing the game anyway, but they just felt they needed an excuse for their relevant communities or just to themselves that they were part of. And I think as a result of that, you know, they finally got their wish almost, and they can now be free. They've got a reason, whereas before perhaps they didn't, or they felt a bit guilty about the reason they did have. So that's what I think, honestly, but again, I could be wrong about that. There's been lots of videos and lots of talk about it, so as I say, I know one person kind of close to me that has talked about it is Bondo. He talked about it in his video, so if you want to hear his thoughts, you can head over there. There'll probably be a link down below. Good did a video. I'll probably include his, so that you can get you know, a broad range of perspectives on the whole topic. It's been a very interesting one, and I hope at the end of the day that the purpose of this video is never to offend anybody. It was never designed to do that. The only purpose of this video was to try and explain what's been going on, really, in a nutshell, and what my thoughts on it are. It was never intended to offend anybody, so I apologize if that's been the case. I hope that you can understand the points I've made, even if you don't agree with them. And I think in the long term, we'll just have to see what happens, as I say. But at the end of the day, I've given my thoughts on it now, and it's recorded the audio this time, so I can kind of move on from that. Next episode, we're going to take it a little bit more lighthearted than this one. I think the fact of the matter is that we should really have a nice, enjoyable episode compared to the one that we've had, which has not necessarily been negative, but it's not been the nicest topic to talk about. People are quite sensitive about it and things like that. So next episode, we're actually going to talk about some of my Minecraftian memories, because I'm coming up, in fact, it's already passed my 3-year anniversary of playing Minecraft, so we're going to talk about some memories and some nostalgia and things like that in the run-up to actually going back to the Fret Fort. So that should be a good prelude to the return episode. So that's the plan, at least. Now that we've kind of talked about this and got this out of the way, I hope you people who have been watching have enjoyed, if you can, this topic, and you've got something out of it at the very least, even if you've not agreed with it. As I say, I've tried to approach this in an unbiased way. I don't really know if I've done that or not, but I tried to, and I've tried to really just explain my thoughts in a way that makes sense, I guess, at least to me. I don't know if it made sense to other people, but we'll just have to see how things go. And I think that at the end of the day, we just don't know yet where things are going to go, and we're just going to have to wait for more information. I am very, very careful about how I talk about things in videos like this, because I do know how sensitive it is for some people. So if you have took offense to anything I've said, I do humbly apologize. It was never intended to be offensive to anybody, and I can only wish you, an apology if it has. But I just felt it was important to get my personal thoughts out there, and it was never intended to be offensive. Again, I'm kind of conscious about that. But anyway, I think it's about time to end the episode. I think what we'll do last here is we'll probably whip up a little hut again and set our spawn point ready for next episode. This is where we're at now. We've come a long way. We're probably another half an hour away from getting home. We're now at minus 3,500. We came from minus 10,000, so we've covered a lot of ground today in terms of distance while we've been talking. So next episode will probably be the run-up, honestly, to the return. I'm gonna actually set up a chest here and put some things away. I guess the ender chest too, and I'll cut down some of these trees, make a spruce hut for a change. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode, guys. We're not going to end quite just yet, but I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on that topic, or, as I say, got something out of it. As I say, next episode, we'll take it a little bit more lighthearted and a little bit more enjoyable, hopefully, for all. But work goes on for me. We'll pick things up again next Saturday, I believe. And then we will probably make our way pretty much home at that point, and hopefully by that time we might have had another pre-release too, so we'll be on pre-release 4 then. It seems to be the indication from Mojang is that we're gonna have more pre-releases for a while they stable things out in 1.8, so hopefully we'll have a more stable one. There still is some bugs that need to be worked out in this release before it can be considered final and stable, but I think we're in good shape for right now. It's gonna have to be another small one again, isn't it? Huh. Just gonna have enough room here to get this done. Why don't we incorporate some glass? We've not incorporated any glass yet in any of our little huts, so why don't we do that? Zombie tracking. Stop now. It's probably getting going again soon. Their AI is a little bit bugged, I think, right now. So we're going to have our door at. So, cover this up. And whip up a quick little roof on top of this. I need a axe out again to break this. Hello. Yes. You're no longer with us now, thank goodness. Oh, and this will actually give us an opportunity to make the spruce doors. We've not made any of those yet. I don't know what they look like, so I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Probably make some stairs or something. There we go. Got some torches down. Let's make a door. That's not how you make a door. That is, though. It's an interesting icon. Ah, okay. Kind of want to put a piece of glass here now because the door doesn't have any window in it like the other doors do. So let's do that, and let's whip up some stairs really quick, and then we will make a bed and set our spawn point. Get rid of that. There we go. Probably should do something with the floor too. I don't really like it being sand. It doesn't really appeal to me too much. I don't really want the dirt to fall out like that. So we'll do the floor and then we'll call that an episode, I think. Here we go. We'll put the door back. There we go. Excellent. So now I can put the doors away and I can whip up a bed. That's some slabs. We don't want to bake those. There we go. Make a bed. And I'll set that down over here, I guess. I don't want the sticks anymore. I'm going to need to make a boat again. So I'm going to go ahead and do that out of the remaining planks. I want the ender chest back. And probably that wood is what I'm thinking. Although I do want to carry the glass. So I guess won't be carrying any more wood. Don't want the sand either, so maybe we'll carry the wood. I have a lot of supplies. It's kind of becoming a problem. Keep carrying all this stuff around. But anyway, it's not too bad, I suppose. Am I going to be able to sleep here? Yes, I am. So, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, guys. Bit of an interesting one, bit more rambly than usual, but I hope you enjoyed and got something out of it nonetheless. I hope to see you next time when, as I say, we will talk about some of my Minecraftian memories on Saturday. So until then, guys, see you later and have a good day.